Listeners, today we're going into the British Industrial Revolution. Just like the way we understood that the French political revolution was ideological, the British Industrial Revolution and the French political revolution take place synonymously, almost the same time in Europe. The British before the revolution is one of the strongest economy in the European society, if not the highest, because Britain were somehow industrialized at a more local level, because the Britain it has a lot of plantations, companies, industries where productions are made, because it's one of the phases that adopted the emergence of science and technology when it arrived earlier. So already they were having plantations and everything. So the Britain society, there was a revolution in Britain, though it was we can call it a process to development, because the Britain society initially were using human labor in production, in their plantation, in their industry. That was even one of the reasons that called for slavery then, because even when they go to African and Asian countries to seek for slaves, they get these slaves back to Britain, and these slaves somehow work in their plantations and in some of their minor mega companies and industries. But the emergence of science and technology in the 16th, 17th century, in the mid 16th and 17th century, led to so many industries and in Britain to accept this technology because of the nature of this technology, because it is faster, it is more successive, it is less expensive in maintenance, and this technology are more excellent in terms of industrial achievement, because one machine can provide a job of 50 people, can do a job of 50 people more accurately and within time frame. So these industries, these machines that were created were somehow adopted in these industries in Britain. What happened? The people now have to go, because initially they were using human labor. Now one machine can do a work of 50 people. Then the industries see it as a progress, as a revolution. To promote industrialization, they adopted these machines, this technology, but at what expense? They have to let go the labor. So many of the laborers were being disengaged from their job. And by then Britain is now becoming urban. So a lot of people migrated to Britain in the urban centers. Now before they need this job to pay rents, they need this job to succeed, they need this job to survive in the urban centers. And the urban centers have been choked up already. So if you by asking these people, disengaging them, it creates another problem. Though at one phase, if you look at it, it was a development for a society to be faster in production, faster in arrangement, and to produce more at a little time. The technology was a development, but the consequences of the technology there was no backup plan for these people that will be let go from these industries. And that's where the problem arises. So there were a lot of disengaged persons, labor, individual in the street, no longer having job. In the vein that the machine have taken away the job. Then people no longer want to employ too much people, because you don't have to be paying them, you don't have to, even regulating them, it's another problem. But with machine, you can operate it easily. So a lot of people were unemployed. And what happened? Unemployment have a spillover effect. The spillover effect is that a lot of them now have to survive, either legitimate or illegitimately. And there were no any other access. Britain is becoming more capitalistic in nature, more individualistic in nature, and no any humanitarian help. And then that prompted and opened another vacuum for deviation and criminal activities. There were a lot of criminal activities in Britain. People, they have to be murder, burglary, you understand, drug abuse, drug trafficking, a lot of unprecedented behaviors, a lot of criminalities going on in Britain. Why? Because so many people in the urban centers have no job. There were destitution, prostitution, crime, drug abuse, drug trafficking, child labor, juvenile delinquency, murder cases, burglary cases, and a lot of more in Britain. So that began to affect the industries, because there were no peace. One of the criteria for survival is security. Peace is a standard for any development. With whatever technology you think of, when it is bring without peace, without security, then that technology cannot play a role, because there will be distractions, there will be deviations, there will be a lot. So Britain faced so many problems it almost resulted into anomie. There were also breakdown in law and order in Britain, and that caused so many social problems. So many social problems in Britain. So it is now affecting Europe and affecting the whole world. And that also called for a quest for explanations, answering questions. People like Karl Marx wrote a lot in trying to relate what is happening to stratification. And he's trying to say, okay, if you look at the stratification system, there's a kind of, the bureaucracy itself have a problem, because it's based on class and class domination, class exploitation, alienation, all these explanation and providing solution for communism that will bring Britain back to life. Scholars like Emil Durkheim brought different arguments that yes, it's normal for a society to go into anomie when it is an urban stage. On urban stage is more complex, because there is a technology, science, and people behavior changes. A lot of things, crime are expected. But to solve the solution, we need to revive the religious and family institution so that moral doctrine will be embedded. So many scholars begin to find solution to problem of Britain, just like the way they did to that of France. And this idea brought solution to Britain. It brought stability to Britain. It bring back security to Britain. And that was why philosophers thought it's a need for sociology as a new discipline, independent of its own, to be established out of philosophy. Thank you very much for listening. So you can now see that sociology is a social engineering course. It studies individual behavior, it studies group interaction, and it studies institutional association. It studies social structure, it studies culture, it studies behavioral variation, and sociology studies individual mental ability in relation to their behavior, so as to make a balance in relationship, to inspire people, to socialize them, to inculcate ideas and values. Thank you.